It's been 2 weeks since the Grounded 2 surprise reveal. You guys know how excited and hyped I've been. I've poured over every detail, every interview, press article, and of course the limited gameplay footage we were shown. Quite a lot of the videos have been thinking about the ideas, speculation about what to expect and more, but today it's about concrete facts that you need to know for Grounded 2. How much it's going to cost, when exactly is it going to release on the 29th of July, early access update plans, confirmed bugs, gear and biomes. So let's go, what you need to know about Grounded 2. So yes, releasing on the 29th of July at exactly 6 PM UK time, 7 PM in Europe, 10 AM PST, 1 PM EST and 3 o'clock in the morning at Australian EST. And of course that ends up actually being the 30th of July in Australia. This has been confirmed by the release time stated on Steam DB and clears up some confusion about exactly when it would launch. Of course it's going to be on Game Pass, or you can go ahead and buy it for $29.99, check your local currency for what it would be. It's going to be early access on Steam, game preview on Xbox and Xbox PC, and won't be appearing on PlayStation 5 or Nintendo Switch until at least 1.0, with the devs stating in an interview that they loved the fact that Grounded was available on more platforms and that was something they'd look into in the future, but for now they're concentrating purely on Xbox and Steam. Grounded 2 will not be appearing on OG Xbox One, PS4 or the original Switch. No timeline has been given for Grounded's early access run, although we can expect at least a minimum of a year, perhaps two. It is being co-developed by Eidos Montreal, so there's a lot more developers working on the game than previously, but updates are going to be slightly slower. Instead of every 2 to 3 months, 4 to 5 months now, but they will contain a lot more features and content. A roadmap will be available, giving us hints and clues about what to expect in the upcoming year or so. When it leaves early access, when it's complete, the price will increase, so buying it now saves you probably a few dollars. And of course, if you buy it in early access, you won't have to pay a penny more. Now, devs have been keen to point out that Grounded 2 has a future way beyond 1.0. Now they can leverage better technology on the latest consoles, so that would be good to see more content dropping after 1.0. Another recent article has stated that Grounded will not support local LAN play, i.e. if you're playing in the same house, you connect to the same wireless, and it does often give you a little bit more reactive time and less lag and jumping around. It's going to be exactly the same as Grounded 1, connecting to the internet and then playing with your friends that way. So no dedicated servers and no differences really in how Grounded 1 ran. No one has officially stated that split screen won't be coming to Grounded, but given the original never had it, there's been no wording yet whether or not it'll appear, so for sure it certainly won't be here at early access launch, and I very much doubt it will actually appear at all. Grounded 2 of course continues the original story from Grounded 1 about 4 teens that were mysteriously shrunken down and their fight for survival in trying to make themselves go big again. Our brand new adventures take part in Brook Hollow Park, an all new location for the Grounded universe. We'll be returning as the 4 teens from the original, Max, Hoops, Pete and of course Willow, who have all aged 2 years as the game is set 2 years after the original. With the teens aging, they've had a little bit of a remake and glow up. Let me know which one's your favourite. It does seem very likely, due to the description of the story, that we are going to be meeting once again Wendell and perhaps Burgle taking more of a centre stage in the story, as there's footage and screenshots showing us going between levels of Burgle's body, or at least a statue. There does seem to be a returning character that remembers us, perhaps behind the purple graffiti we see prevalent in the trailer, and it's a big mystery about who this person is that seems to be watching us, waiting for us in the dark. Again, due to some of the press previews, we can work out and deduce that we are at first at least working with Omnium, who are seemingly turned a tide and are now the good guys, supposedly. Headed up by a new character, Sloane Beaumont, we're guided by her in the first stages of survival in the brand new park. Also big changes, we no longer have scabs, instead a brand new power gauntlet, giving us a brand new look for our UI. Other new features are including the new Omnium tool, obviously getting from maybe Sloane to help us survive that little bit better. It will combine all the multifunctions that you had from a hammer, an axe, a wrench, and of course the spade into one tool once you go ahead and purchase the upgrades for each additional utility. It looks like these will be able to be upgraded as well to the different tiers. While we'll be purchasing the additional utilities, there's no actual confirmation how we'll upgrade these Omnant tools. But lots of shots of the teens show very different customizations for some of the Omnant tools, perhaps based on the children themselves or maybe on what we decide to upgrade it with. Combat has changed in Grounded. A big new feature of course is the dash or dodge ability. You'll now be able to sidestep big swipes from mantises, ants and more, with some gear sets allowing you to go ahead and use a dash attack. This one change or addition is going to be huge for Grounded and how we take on bugs. We now have light and heavy attacks, the heavy attack somewhat replacing the charge attack, where it's likely one button press will be needed instead of holding the button down. Each new weapon will now also show the critical damage stat, alongside how much damage, stun and speed of different weapons. Bows for now and maybe other ranged items will also have a brand new perfect shot, with changes to the visual feedback about charged shots as well. Brand new for Grounded 2 of course is dual wielding weapons. These are going to include daggers and sickles, and by looks of things they will not be able to go ahead and be used singly, so no more shield and knife combo. But this is one of the brand new weapon sets that allows you to do a dash attack. And it does look like all weapons have the ability to utilise with an ambush attack by creeping up behind an enemy and tapping the heavy button. It's not strictly a stealth class. The devs have been keen to point out that although it looks like it, it's more about a rogue set feature, but it does look like every weapon will be able to activate this as long as you creep up behind an enemy without them seeing you. And that brings us onto the simplification of combat and classes. Previously there were so many different ways that you could tailor your build. Now that is still the same, but instead the Grounded devs have made it a little bit more visually easier to see what suits your particular style, with 4 main archetypes: warrior, mage, rogue and ranger. You will still be able to mix and match different styles and maybe lean into sub archetypes, but gear will have better icons indicating what kind of combat style it fits, as well as different layouts of mutations. There appears to be 19 returning for Grounded, so a reduction in what was previously there, but bearing in mind it's going to be early access. Some of the mutations are pretty much the same as before, especially with different weapon styles: kill certain amount of creatures, gain certain amount of damage boost or critical boost, but some have been changed or split up. Barbarian has now been split so that you get a new mutation called Frenzy, giving you more strength, more healing when in rage mode, and deal lots of damage, with the reduction though in how you can parry, which does mean that the two-handed club perk will now hopefully have just benefits rather than any kind of negative associated with it. Other smaller changes are things like Sharpshooter being able to use and activate more critical hits with as many blows as you can land. It's been changed now to charge shots land more chance of achieving more critical damage. As mentioned earlier, a brand new ability, the ambush ability, is a mutation, and another range mutation hinting at the arrival of tarantulas, or at least a pet tarantula named Axel, which will give us a special pheromone shot inducing rage in bugs. 12 of the 19 mutations have been given details. Check out my longer form video exploring all of them. Other returning features will be things like raw science, also milk molars, and upgrading your gear using upgrade rocks. Analysing resources as well as obviously the peeper are still also in the game. Perhaps the biggest exciting feature of course is the brand new buggies, i.e. a play on the word with bugs mixed in with mounts. Now we'll be able to utilise these to go and traverse the map. At launch with early access there is going to be a ant buggy, an ant soldier type, as well as a orb weaver mount. We'll have special stables that we need to construct to hatch the eggs that we'll need to steal to get hold of these 2 brand new mounts. The devs have stated they've got big plans for more mounts to be added as early access progresses. The mounts can be told to wait, go back to a stable, and absolutely help you in combat even if you're not riding them. They'll also have a dodge ability or dash ability, as well as obviously being able to attack other creatures, and can even perfect block. Likewise, most of the brand new bugs can also have them same abilities to dash and block. The ant soldier can go ahead and command 2 regular ants to join the party. We'll also be using them to chomp through things like roots, so it may take over some of the later game upgrades for our Omnitool. The ant soldier is going to be our workhorse, basically carrying lots of resources with a brand new gather mode where it will hoover up any stuff that's on the floor, as well as being able to hold things like grass planks, stems and more. We're also even going to be able to build while riding our ant soldier. And the All Weaver seems to do a terrifying scream that can nullify or stun enemies momentarily, as well as a web shot. Every bug is going to have an inventory so you can fill it up with more resources, with the All Weaver though having an additional benefit of being able to climb across things like spider webs and being able to traverse much faster than the ant soldier. Looks like we'll be able to have multiple buggies at once. On regular game modes, mild and medium, your buggies, if they get continuously knocked out and you don't revive them, they'll be sent back to their stables for a few hours until you can use them again. If you're playing on hard or woe mode difficulty, it is permadeath, so take care of your bug friends. Of course, the PP mechanic is back in Grounded 2, given there's a mutation still named after it. We'll be spying a confirmed brand new bunch of creatures, purple/green scorpions, aka known as northern scorpions, orc scorpions, ones that have been added with technology to be controlled by a nefarious force. You see that was Dr. Schmechter in the original, who could it be in the sequel? Joining the orc variants also, we've seen orc bees and orc weevils, the weevils being able to blow up very much like the infected weevils. To the new creatures, mantises, caterpillars, cockroaches, including baby cockroach, snails, butterflies, and hopefully more yet to be revealed. Turning creatures confirmed: bees, soldier ants, worker ants, stink bug, larvae, wolf spider, gnats, aphid, ladybug, all weavers, spiderlings, weevils, fireflies, mosquitoes, bombardier beetles, crow, mites and grubs. Not every creature from Grounded 1 will be available in Grounded 2, with some creatures having more time maybe to dedicate to revamping them or simply just being cut. They've also said that every creature has had a bit of a freshen up, whether or not some will get new abilities or just new looks. A lot of the creatures will feel very similar, but will be also very different. Scorpion seems to have the ability to burrow under the ground and maybe give us some sort of venom shot with its tail. Butterfly is heavily obviously inspired by the moth from the previous game with very similar abilities. I haven't yet seen really what a snail or the actual caterpillar can do. Cockroaches are perhaps the most ickiest of new additions, being able to fire some acid blobs at players as well as obviously attack them. And mantises seem to have a lot of the same abilities as the orc mantis boss, hopefully not as damaging. So to battle these bugs, we're going to need some gear. Returning basic weapons like Pebblet Spear are making an appearance, but there's a whole selection of brand new weapons, including a ladybug mace, a brand new clawed scimitar. We've got the spider stringer bow, 3 new staves including spicy, glacial and venom, a brand new Pebblet stone club, a longsword that apparently glows at various different times, flat jagged longsword, as well as brand new wolfsbane fang daggers, regular All Weaver daggers, and not shown currently but we know they exist, sickles. These will be dual wield items alongside claw knuckle dusters by the looks of things, which will help with unarmed builds. And not forgetting a mysterious spear. Lots of the various different damage types are returning to the game, things like creatures being weak to stabbing, slashing, etc. And as mentioned earlier, we'll be able to upgrade our gear just like we did in the first game. Also with the gear, there is also brand new ladybug and bombardier beetle shields. And with the armour, there's at least 10, perhaps 12 new sets of gear coming to Grounded 2. With new looks and maybe some changing actual abilities and effects, and acorn, clover, ladybug, bee and fire ant all seem to be back in Grounded 2, but with different looks. All Weaver and seemingly Ant Queen armour are also returning. Brand new are the butterfly armour, scorpion, wolf spider, as well as some mystery black tuft pink rounded skin set. Plus a brand new maybe fruit fly mask, that's probably speculation so don't hold me to it, alongside the returning gas mask. Ladybug armour has lost its healing capabilities seemingly and has now got major threat applied, so expect some of the regular armour sets even with new looks also having new abilities. So where are we going to be finding all of these bugs? Well, of course in individual brand new biomes and points of interest, including the ice cream truck offering for the first time a chilling debuff effect as you explore the frozen area. With its one confirmed resource, we'll be harvesting chocolate chips, as well as perhaps maybe some icicles. In trailer footage it shows this is the home of maybe scorpions / red scorpions, and rather than armour to keep us protected, we'll need either a torch or a smoothie to keep us warm. Devs have also mentioned some sort of buried toxic waste area, which sounds very similar to the haze. There'll be major laboratories inside things like the hot dog stand, as well as the statue, and a bunch of ranger stations that we'll be able to go ahead and analyse resources at, as well as pick up our Omnant tools. It seems Omnant have sponsored the park project to be built and have placed a lot of secret laboratories and more all around, with more Omnant bodies being found. Other POI notable are picnic table alongside a fire pit with a oak tree in close proximity, giving us an opportunity to get some perhaps more coals from the fires, as well as build our base on a tree and explore the picnic table, take on all weavers and maybe get ourselves an egg. With a video camera on the floor alongside the fallen body of Burgle, we'll be going across different technology, winding our way through perhaps laboratory tunnels and exploring a trash can, as well as a plastic table with a bunch seemingly of things like research notes and more on. Although the overhead shot shows different areas like communal gardens right at the back of the map, as well as the pond with a dead tree, so far from the gameplay footage we've seen from actual journalists, it shows these areas as incomplete. But the explorable space at early access launch will be as big as the entire backyard in the original Grounded, and the plan is for future that the whole map will be 3 times larger than Grounded's original once it's fully complete and implemented all the different biomes, with a much larger pond, even brook style area, and as said, perhaps maybe more of a focus on individual areas like the communal gardens as well as the pond coming in future updates. So far, no weather has been confirmed for any type of biome or map, and of course the full day night cycle will be returning, all bathed in a gorgeous light using Lumin from Unreal Engine 5. Many, of course, returning resources from the backyard will be there, obviously things like grass, stems and more, to go ahead and craft a lot of the decor and base building parts you're used to. But there will be some new variants, seemingly some sort of thatch roof, brand new walls that have bark on one side, more jungle theme with tiki decoration masks, hanging sign frames, a scorpion wall mounted trophy, and of course you'd expect other bugs to have the same, and as mentioned earlier, separate hatching stables for your ant soldier and your all weaver. Building blueprints have had a change in colour slightly, they're now more white. And it's maybe worth pointing out there seems to be some pneumatic tube travel that we'll be utilising as we explore seemingly the inside of Burgle. It will have a complete story, or seemingly hopefully not change too much, and give us a semi-satisfying conclusion to the early access at launch. Last few things to note before we move on to what won't be in early access. Of course, returning candies will be making an appearance, including spicy cha-chas and mints, but it doesn't look like so far we've seen any sour sweets, although we've seen an empty sour wormhole container. The candy staves make reference to chilling as well as sizzling, but no other mention of any other element. As you would expect, there's brand new music tracks and some things you won't be seeing in early access and potentially not in Grounded at all until obviously way past 1.0. With of course the story unfinished, the likelihood of New Game Plus added to early access is pretty much 99.9% not happening. But I would expect it to arrive at some point after Grounded's full launch or with 1.0. Grounded, the original game, never had official modded support, and it was something very neglected as it was quite hard to modify compared to other Unreal Engine games. I wouldn't expect that to change, and certainly not during early access, if at all. And likewise, Playgrounds hasn't been confirmed one way or the other, but for the same reason New Game Plus, it'd probably be a lot of work to be adding a Playgrounds mode where they may decide to change, remove, or really just adjust a bunch of stuff. There will be crossplay between the different platforms of Xbox and PC, and we presume same cross progression as well as cross save, with the shared world save feature being implemented once more. Grounded will have the Xbox Play Anywhere feature, so including cloud saves, but no wording yet on Steam Deck support. Grounded system requirements are relatively chunky for recommended 16GB of RAM, AMD RX 6800 XT or NVIDIA RTX 380 as a minimum, with a processor of AMD Ryzen 5 5600X, Intel i7 10700K, with at least 40GB available space. Of course, as you might expect, the minimum's a lot lower: AMD RX 5700, NVIDIA GTX 1070, and processor of Ryzen 5 2600, Intel i5 8400. And that is pretty much it. Of course, there's a bunch of unanswered questions that I'm hoping we'll get information between now and its launch, including the return of maybe pets, how the Omnium tool really will be upgraded, what exactly in terms of biomes will there be in Grounded's early access launch, and of course a lot more. As always, I've been here every step of the way since Grounded's first announcement back in 2019, and I'll be here for the whole run of Grounded 2. If you want to clarify anything, I've got an FAQs in my Discord with all this information listed and more details, so come and join, and I'll see you for more Grounded 2 news, gameplay and guides very soon.